Everybody, and welcome back to class. It's Mark, and today is Sunday, September the 11th, the holiday we now celebrate as Patriot Day. Hope everyone's having a great weekend. Today we're going to look at what we have to do for class session 4. So I'm going to jump directly into that. If you're watching these videos, and I know not everyone does, and you find them helpful, and you can suggest a way I can make them better, shorter, longer, anything, go ahead and send me a text. I would appreciate the feedback. In this class session, we are finalizing your first writing project. You've already turned in a draft, and you've gotten feedback from me and from other students in the class. So today we're going to polish it up and make it as good as we can be. And I want to make sure that you understand the process for reviewing the feedback that I give you. If you go into the Grade Center and click on that assignment, you will see in there a link to the document that I reviewed. Now, if you hit open, you may not see the feedback that I gave you. I make comments on the paper in Word and then send them to you. What you need to do is download the file, save it, and then open it, and you will see my comments. I did hear from a couple of students who said, I looked at the essay, there's nothing there. Again, you need to follow that process and not just simply open it to make sure that you can see all of my feedback. For this week, we're going to take a look at textbook chapter 5, analytical writing. We will talk a little bit about MLA format. We do not use APA. There is a practice activity for the library. And then we are finishing up summary and response of writing project 1, completing the peer response feedback. And under assignments and assessments, critical rereading 2 responses. That's finishing off the discussion board that we started last week. An Ivy Tilt exercise, which is related to the library. It's a short multiple choice quiz. And then turning in your final draft. So not as much work this week, and that's because I want to have you spend as much time as possible polishing up your first essay. And I've got one outside resource I'm going to show you in just a minute that I think you'll find helpful. So going into the learning activities, here's the textbook. Again, read chapter 5, MLA format. I'm not going to open the library tutorials, but make sure you do this before you take the quiz. And once you've taken this, go directly into the quiz. They're very much the same, and you'll do great. This is summary and response, following steps 7 through 10. So let's go ahead and open that up. And again, the way this class works, whenever you have a writing project and you're doing the draft, and just the draft, you only follow steps 1 through 6. But when it's time to turn in the final version, follow steps 7 through 10. So we can skip over the first 6 steps and look at steps 7 through 10. Peer response has already been done. That was in class session 3. Make sure you read all of the responses that you get. It's usually very, very helpful. Notice in here it says, along with your final draft, you will submit a cover letter. And the cover letter is intended for you to explain how you use the feedback. I'm going to tell you to skip that step for this assignment, and I might do it later as well, but you don't need the cover letter. You can do it if you'd like, but I'm not going to hold anything against you if you don't include it. And also it mentions the cover letter in this step as well. And again, you can skip that. Make sure when you turn your final draft in, before you submit it, hit the F7 key. The F7 key is spell check and grammar check. Most of the spelling and grammar was pretty good, but I did see a couple of students who had a typo here and a typo there. When I review your final draft, the first thing I do is I hit F7 to check for spelling mistakes and grammar mistakes. If you know that that's what I'm going to do as the first step, then make that your last step. I love to see it when I hit F7 and the box comes up and says no mistakes were found. That's great. So again, skip the cover letter, turn in the final draft. Print this off if you haven't printed it already. That's some pretty good feedback right there. Very pleased with the response. I'm going now to go into the assignments and assessments folder and see what we have there. I'm not going to open this up, but it is finishing off the discussion board on critical rereading. I think everyone's been participating in that very well. Just make sure you turn in responses to at least 2 other students. Here's the quiz. And when you're ready to turn in your final draft, you're going to turn it in 2 places, right here and right here. One problem I noticed, not for everyone, but for some, was incorrect citations on the works cited page. First of all, you should always include a works cited page, and I pointed out to a couple of folks that they were missing that. You must always include one. But this is an outside source called citationmachine.net if you're unsure on how to cite something, and this is only for your works cited page, not citing something within the body of the paper. You're allowed to use an outside source like this. Of course, Purdue OWL is another one that is probably a little more correct than Citation Machine. This one does occasionally make some mistakes, but it's a pretty good source. If you want to use it, there's 2 ways you can do it: automatically or manually. I'm going to click on the MLA tab, and I brought a book with me. And this is, again, for a book. Notice that there are other ways of citing other sources. And I'm just going to type in the title of the book. It's a book by Sherman Alexie, who's also in the core readings folder, called Blasphemy. It's a great book. And we'll see if it finds it. And there it is, Blasphemy by Sherman Alexie. I'm going to select that. I'm not sure why it's listed twice. Probably one is a hardback and one's a paperback. And there it is. And I could simply cut and paste this and put it in my works cited page. No reason not to have a mistake, or excuse me, no reason to have a mistake on a works cited page when you have tools like this available to you. You could also Google cite MLA citation and then type in the title of the book and the author, and it'll probably direct you to a page like this or something else. So, can you use something like this in this class? Well, I just showed it to you, so I suppose you can. I'd rather see that your citation is correct. And my guess is once you get a little more accomplished and have additional practice on citing things, you'll be able to do this pretty well on your own without using Citation Machine. But it is a starting point. And I think that's it for this week. I really look forward to reading all of your final drafts. But hey, let's stay in touch. Text me anytime at 812-498-4200. You can send me an email at mstenger and the number 1 at ivytech.edu. If you want to call me, it's 800-416-1747. Remember, on your final draft of Writing Project 1, you can skip the cover letter. Hope everybody has a great week. I'll see you around.